Hi everybody, this is John with another model inbox review. What we're looking at here is a picture of a type of ship called a carrack. And I did do an inbox review before, I think going back to maybe a couple of years ago, where I did an inbox review on a carrack, but a ship that's in a museum, and that was the Mary Rose. And this is another carrack of a very, very famous ship. And you're looking here at a replica of this particular ship. This is the Santa Maria. And the Santa Maria was, can't remember where the ship originated from. It might have been Portugal, under a different name, but she was, if you like, hired by Christopher Columbus and his fleet to sail across to what he thought was the other side of the world, to meet India on the other side of the world. But he actually found a new land and he called it the West Indies. He actually landed on, I believe it was the Caribbean, and realised that it wasn't India, so he called it the West Indies. Before we go into the actual inbox review, I just want to show you the differences between the three ships. This is the Santa Maria, the flagship, the ship that was actually sailed by Christopher Columbus. And she was, in terms of carrack sizes, she was actually quite a small vessel. She wasn't a large vessel at all. She was actually a merchant carrack. She had a full deck with a forecastle at the front here, which is a very common trait of a carrack, and two rear decks here. Can't remember what these decks are called, but I'm sure somebody who's maritime minded would probably put them into the comments. But the Santa Maria was the largest of the three ships. The other two ships were the Nina and the Pinta. Now the Pinta is the ship you can see on the left hand side, and the Nina is the ship you can see on the right hand side. And there are lots of speculation about one of these two ships, the Nina, because the Pinta, a lot of people believe the Pinta was actually a converted carrack, but I don't think this was true. There were a couple of replicas made over the years of the Pinta, and she had a much more raised rear deck, and she had a forecastle in the forward section. But a lot of historians believe that the Pinta was actually just a much larger version of the Nina, in much the same fashion that this picture shows. But there is speculation about the Nina being not as people would assume that she looked like, because a lot of people believe that the Nina was actually a deckless ship. She was an open vessel. She had a rear deck at the rear section of the ship for merchant cargo stowage, but the rest of the ship was open, in much the same form as an incredibly large rowing boat, if you like, with a cargo section at the back. But the Nina was much less of an ocean-going ship than the other two were. It would have been a much harder voyage for the captain and her crew of the Nina. But the Pinta and the Santa Maria, they would have been ocean-going vessels, and they would have had, not saying it would have been an easy voyage, because the North Atlantic is never an easy voyage to cross in a smaller ship like these. But the Nina would have had a much harder time of it. So that's the differences between the three ships. The model we're actually doing an inbox review on today is an Airfix kit, the Santa Maria. But before I go into the Airfix inbox review, I want to cover a little bit more about the carracks. The carracks were an incredibly popular design of ship in around about the 15th, 16th and 17th centuries. The most famous of these was, of course, the Santa Maria. But there was also a ship captained by Vasco da Gama when he circumnavigated the world. And the carrack that he actually sailed in was called the Sal Gabriel. There was another ship that Magellan sailed in, and this ship was actually the only survivor of Magellan's fleet from the voyage, was the Victoria. Then you had the Henri Grace Adieu, which was one of the wartime flagships of Henry VIII. And then, of course, you had the Mary Rose itself, which was another one of Henry VIII's carrack warships. They were like the forerunner of the galleon, the ocean-going man of war, if you like. Anyway, the Airfix kit we're doing an inbox review on is this one. But it's not this release. This release is very, very difficult to get a hold of. This is the Type 1 boxing, released in 1954. And what you actually see there is the image of the kit that you actually ended up buying when you bought this model in 1954. The kit came with a waterline style base that the model fitted into, even though the hull of the plastic kit is a full hull. The hull fitted inside the waterline base, and you actually got a full set of rigging to apply to the ship. And it was, I would say, a much more difficult kit to build than what it is now if you can acquire one of the latter releases. But that's the Type 1 boxing. Type 1 boxings are very easy to recognise because of this base. And also the Santa Maria is also based on like a paper, like curled edge sort of finish on the header. And there's an image of the kit. It's not an image of the kit made up, it's an artist impression of the kit made up. And they are quite hard to get hold of, but these were the releases that were sent to Woolworths, which is why you had the little hole in the top of the header here where the Woolworths shopping aisles, if you like, promotional stands. You used to poke the stand prongs through those holes to display the models. But that was the Type 154 release of the 1/400 scale Santa Maria. Yes, the kit was made in 1/400 scale. Now then, in 1960, the model was updated to a Type 2. Now, the Type 2 header is recognisable through every boxing and bag kit that you can buy by having an image of the kit, in this case a Santa Maria, sailing through a yellow bar. This bar wasn't always yellow. On some kits it was blue, some it was green, some it was red. But it would sail into a white background. And the white background could be on the left or the right hand side. It wouldn't really make much difference which side it was on, but the image would be either flying or driving or sailing into this white background from the pictorial image. In this case, the Santa Maria is sailing through to the left hand side of the header. Notice that they've done away with the waterline base and replaced it with a stand by 1960. And also the Airfix scroll, not the Airfix circular logo, was used in this era. The Airfix scroll, of course, was the original logo used by Airfix. That's 1960s Type 2 header. Then in 1963, Airfix joined up with a company in Germany called Plasti Airfix. I'm not quite sure why Plasti Airfix sold this kit, whether it was just sold in Germany or whether it was a European agent for sales of the kit in Europe. But you had what a lot of people would call the red stripe packaging, but this is actually a blue stripe packaging. You have to remember that a lot of people that think the red stripe packaging denotes the fact that it was Type 3, but that's not the case. It simply had a coloured bar on the end of the logo description panel, and then you had this massive scrolled Airfix logo here. Airfix Historical Ships, it was marked. And this is exactly the same logo, header that you got with a Type 3, but in this case it's a blue stripe kit and not a red stripe kit. You can see the other two vessels in the background. That's the Pinta behind. The Pinta was a square rigger. The Nina was not a square rigger. She was a much smaller ship, and as you can see there. But that was the Plasti Airfix release. And also in 1967, later in the 60s, the Type 3 header on the blue stripe bag. This is exactly the same header as you saw before. This was released in the English market for Airfix on this style of header. You can see the image a little bit better on this photograph, which is great. That's the 1967 Type 3 release. And then in 1973, this is the type of format that I've actually got the kit of, the Type 4. I think this is a Type 4C boxing, the blister pack. And this is the first time you see the Airfix logo in the red, white and black round logo that Airfix used from now on. And the model that I've got is exactly the same as this in every way, shape or form. I think the actual boxing packaging has been slightly faded in my case, but there is a price sticker on the box, and I'll show you that in a minute, because that's quite funny, because in 1973 these kits weren't, the price ticket that's labelled on here, in 1973 these models would have been about 22, maybe 25 pence. Originally they were released as Series O kits, but by 1973 they were now Series 1. The Series O kits were discarded and all of these models were moved into Series 1. Anyway, 1976 moved to the Type 4D box. This is where they got rid of all of the bags and blister packs, and every Airfix kit was released in a box from this time on. 1976 saw the start of a lot of Series 1 models going into boxings, and it was nice to see. I preferred this sort of format, but it's the same image as you got with the original Type 2 header. Sorry, Type 3 header, which was quite interesting. I quite like the look of that image on the Santa Maria there from Airfix. The last kit release was a sort of an experimental venture for Airfix, where they went into the snap and glue precision Airfix model kit market, and they released the Santa Maria. It's exactly the same model, but they doctored the mould to produce much larger, tighter fitting location pins and location holes on the opposite side. Most of the kit you pressed together and it snapped into place, like the masts and the hull and the deck and everything, but things like the sails and the small parts, the mizzen mast and the bow mast there, they would have been glued into position. And of course you had the decals as well, but that was the last release that Airfix did of this particular kit, and that was done in 1981. Now then, just want to leave you a nice image here. This is another replica. I think this is the Colombian built replica of the Santa Maria, and you can see how how the carrack was formed. It had a very short flush section to the deck with the hull, and then you had a raised forecastle, and then a raised mid section and a rear section which was raised even more. That was classic carrack construction, and you can see that quite nicely. So I'll just pan the camera down to the kit in question. Sorry about the noise, guys. I'm trying to make it a little less apparent, but it's not always easy, is it? And there we go, that should do it quite nicely. The first thing you notice about this particular boxing is that it's a very self-contained packaging. What I mean by that is all the parts are inside this blister pack here, which is a little bit damaged, but I've checked that everything's in here. And then on the back you've got a paint guide, very easy to follow. I've got a little bit of a criticism about this particular kit. You've got the hole here which went into the shop's presentation stands. The prongs went through from this end, and you'd have had loads and loads of these on the same prong. And the paint guide opens up into the instructions. And the instructions of the kit are built into 4 sections. And you have a set of decals on this kit and a flag sheet, a paper flag sheet which you cut out. It's marked here decal, but that is not. That is actually part of the paper flag sheet. And I'll show you that in a minute. But basically the kit builds in 4 sections. They're all quite easy. There's very few parts to this model. Basically in section 1 you assemble the stand and the main hull and deck. Very easy to see. In the older generation kits, the Type 1 and Type 2s, I think the stand was built last. Then in section 2 you're basically putting all the masts. I think this thing at the end is a lantern, part 9. Which is quite interesting. Section 3 you're putting the decal onto the sail. Obviously I would paint the sail first and weather it after you'd put the decal in place. And then section 4 you're just finishing off by gluing all the sails into position and placing all the relevant flags in the relevant positions. They're actually showing you to place that, it's a tacking sail I believe, on the rear mast there. You place it 7/8 of an inch from the top of the tacking mast, and that's the plan that you have the sails to be adhered into, so that you have the sails not quite facing forward, but the tacking sail there not quite facing forward either. It's to the opposite direction slightly, but ever so slightly. So that's basically the instructions. You've also got a label here of £1. Now I'm guessing Series 1 kits would have been about £1 towards the end of the 70s. I think that's about when they started going over £1, about 1979 to 1980, I would have said. But when this kit was originally released in 1976, they would have been well under £1, probably about 59p, something like that. Anyway, I have opened this packet to make sure everything's here because, as I said, the packaging was slightly damaged. I bought this kit off eBay quite a number of years ago because I wanted to build all of the Series O release Airfix kits, and I've built a number of them already. I've built the Victory and the Great Western. I have built a Cutty Sark, but I've since bought another one in order to do a review on the Cutty Sark so that you guys can see what you get, because it is on modern day release. You can buy it nowadays as a modern release from Hornby Hobbies. Right then, the decals. The decals and flag sheet are quite interesting. You've got a flag sheet, and this is the one criticism I have of this kit. The flag sheet is fine, except for this decal, which goes on the back of the ship's hull. This decal is printed upside down. What I mean by that is that the shape of the decal, the shape of the plan part should be that shape, and it should be a little bit smaller, but they've printed it upside down. So when you place it on the back, I'll show you what I mean. When you place it on the back of the hull, I'll just put these two hull parts together so you can see. When you place this part onto the back of the hull, they're asking you to put it that way round, but you can see this part is massive compared to, do you know what I mean? But it's actually got to go that way up in that shape. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to cut it so that it's that shape, and then I might have to put some what I call cheat filler into the front section of this paper mark, and then build that section of the hull out so that it meets the back of this when it's cut to the right shape and size. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Right, the decal. There's your decal. Oh, there is a decal with Santa Maria on. Look at that. There you go. So you can use that on the stand if it will fit. It looks a little bit big to me. That looks a little bit big, doesn't it? I think this one here was the one that was designed to go on there. So that's interesting. Anyway, that's the decal sheet. The decal sheet's in pretty good condition. It's pretty run-of-the-mill for the era that these decals would have been produced there. The backing film isn't particularly fantastic, but I'll be honest with you, I'm not really bothered about the yellowing on the backing film, because they're going onto a sail that's going to be weathered, and then it's going to be oiled over the top, because I'm going to attempt oil weathering these sails, which is an interesting idea. Now then, there are quite a few number of loose parts, and we'll go through those in a minute. Let's just have a look at this sprue first. The parts on this kit are nothing to write home about. They're not particularly great. They're not particularly well cast. There's quite a bit of flash on these parts, as you can see. It's going to have to be cleaned up. But they're adequate. There's a little lantern goes on the back of the kit's hull. Yeah, not much to write home about, but the parts are what they are. That's the tacking sail. Quite nice detail on the woodwork, the mast, the yard arm, if you like. I'm trying to get that into focus there. There we go. It's quite nice detail on that, and the sail actually it's quite a plain sail, which is quite good when you think you've got to put a decal onto it. That's the front sail. Again, nice detail there on the yard arm, and that's the main sail. Don't know what that is. Looks like a bit of paint or something. Don't know. It might be something off the. Oh, it's off the backing. It's off the backing of the packaging. So that's all right. That'll just that'll sand off, no problem. That's the main sail. Then you've got the stand base, which we've had a look at before. It's pretty simple. you know, not really much of an issue there, is there? Part 15, yeah. Then you've got the deck. Now the deck, again, this is going to need cleaning up a little bit, but the deck is quite nicely detailed. Can you see the planks? The planking there on the deck is quite nice. A little bit of detail on the top there, the two hatches. Needs cleaning up, of course, because it's full of flash and burr and bits and pieces. Don't need to show you both of these two hulls, but I will show you one of them. The interior section there, it's got the lugs there to place the deck into the correct position. Locating pins. Not terribly bothered about that piece, although that is a lug actually for the front of the hull, and the front of the deck rather. But the detail on the actual main deck itself is quite nice. It's quite nicely defined. If the camera's gonna do it, there we go. I quite like the amount of detail, and when you think that this kit is 1/400 scale, it's one of the smallest scales available. It's not the smallest scale, but it's one of them. That's quite a lot of detail, which I think you can go to town with if you're a lad who likes washes and detail and, you know, putting in weather in. I think you can go to town with that and make that look really nice. So anyway, that's the parts. Don't think this video is going to take very long because there's not many parts to this kit, and I'll be honest with you, there's not many parts to most of the Series O models, I'll be honest with you. The one that has the most amount of parts, in my opinion, is probably the Great Western, which I did an in-box review of, and final reveal, because that kit is finished now, earlier last month, and that kit is really, really nice. It's a very nice kit to build. Quite detailed for what it is, and it's more parts than any of the other Series O kits. So we're just putting these parts back in the box so I can seal this all up and make sure I don't lose any of this. Most of the kit's parts that are small are actually still on the sprue, which is nice. It's a nice, makes a change, doesn't it? I'll just put that into there so you can see that. There we go. And I'll read this information out to close this video down. Right, the model we're doing an in-box review of is the Airfix Series 1 / Series O Santa Maria. The serial number is O1265-8, and its original release date was 1954, but this kit is a 1976 release on a Type 4C blister pack. The kit scale is about 1/400 scale. Now there are decals and a flag sheet for the Santa Maria circa 1492, and there are 17 parts on one white plastic sprue and several loose, but there are 17 parts in total. The dimensions of the kit are approximately 4 inches long by about 4 inches long by about 1 inch in the beam, and about 4.75 inches high on its stand. Now the options and costs, I have actually included all of the options and costs that are available, and the reason I've done that is because there are quite some interesting options available for you to purchase either as old or as new release kits. The first options are to no scale whatsoever, but they include a set of kits which are ships in a bottle kit, and the company that built the Santa Maria is Goland and Goland. Again, there's no scale, but the actual bottle is around about 5 to 6 inches long, so I'm guessing it's similar scale to the Airfix kit. The Goland and Goland release is about £20 to £25, but Ada also released the Santa Maria, which was a Goland and Goland release kit, reboxed by Ada, and that kit can often be bought for about £17 to £20. Now, in 1/400th to 1/100th scale, I've listed these in separate sections because obviously the costings are quite terrific in some of them. But in 1/400th scale, Airfix do this Santa Maria. Retail prices, you can often get it for as little as £6, but I have seen it go for £21 and above actually, but very rarely above £21. Hella also produced a 1/350th scale Santa Maria. That kit retails for about £5 to £6 second hand. Zvezda did a snap together kit in 1/350th scale for about £6 to £12. And Hella also released a 1/270th scale Santa Maria and that kit can be purchased for as little as £1 or as much as £10. There's a company called Bullmark who released a Santa Maria in 1/240th scale. That kit I have seen go for about 25 quid, but it was a long time ago, so I haven't got any pricings for present retail. I couldn't get any. Pyro produce a 1/240th scale model, which is a separate kit to the Bullmark one, and that kit retails between £10 and £12. I may do a 1/225th scale kit, which retails online for about £17 to £20. Aoshima produce a 1/200th scale Santa Maria for about £20 to £21. I've seen several of these online. There's a company called Modelist who build the Santa Maria in 1/50th scale. This kit retails about £9 to £25, but I have looked at the sprues on this kit and they look remarkably similar to the 1/350th scale Hella kit. Lindbergh produced a rather poor 144th scale kit of the Santa Maria, which retails for about £9 to £12, but they also do a Christopher Columbus set, which incorporates the Santa Maria, the Nina and the Pinta in 1/144th scale, and that retails between £12 and £25. Airfix Plasti reboxed the Airfix 1/400 scale kit, no pricings available on that. Revell, they reboxed the 1/350th scale Svezda kit for about £5 to £7. Hella Tomy produced the 1/350th scale Hella kits for about £5 to £10, and SMER, they released the 1/350th scale Hella kit for about yes, I've seen it go for £1, up to about £15. Also, Mr. Craft, they do a general release kit which is available now in your shops of the 1/350th scale reboxed Hella kits for about £5 to £12, but usually it's about £5 online. Keepsa Pyro, they produce the Pyro kit in 1/240th scale of the Santa Maria, and that kit retails about £8 to £12. There's a company called Cleeware who reboxed the Pyro kit in 1/240th scale of the Santa Maria. Got no pricings on that, but I'm guessing it's going to be quite dear. And Lifelike Hobbies released the 240th scale Santa Maria, which is a reboxed Pyro kit for about £10 to £18. ERTL also released the 1/225th scale Santa Maria, which is a reboxed IMA kit for about £15 to £18. Now there are some really, really nice large scale models available at Santa Maria. Most of these models are really nice. So yeah, it would be quite nice if you can get a hold of one of these if you want a largish scale Santa Maria. Revell build a 1/90th scale Santa Maria, which is available for between £13 and £35, but they also build a Santa Maria gift set, which is basically the 1/90th scale Santa Maria kit with paints, glue and a brush, and that retails between £12 and £25. Hella produce a 1/75th scale Santa Maria for about £10 to £26. That kit is really nice. And Hella also produce a 1492 Christopher Columbus set in 1/75th scale, comprising, the Santa Maria, the Pina, and the Pinta and the Nina, which retails between £40 and £60. And IMA, they produce a 1/60th scale kit, which is really, really nice, but it's really dear, and that costs between £160 and £170. There are some reboxings of the large scale kits. Aurora Hella produced the Hella kit in 1/75th, no pricings available on that. Hella Lodella, they produced the Hella kit in 1/75th, no pricings on that. And Minicraft USA also produced the Hella kit in 75th, no pricings on that. Svezda did a Santa Maria in 1/75th scale, which is a reboxed Hella kit, for £35 to £38, and this is available online today. And the ERTL re-release of the IMA 1/60th scale Santa Maria kit is available for about £150 to £170. These two 1/60th scale kits, I must stress, are the most detailed sailing ships I've ever seen. They are absolutely incredible, and I've seen the sprues for them online. There's plenty of images online for you to have a look at if you're interested in one of these models. Conclusions. Like all of the Airfix Original Series O ships, they are small and basic detail-wise, but they do make up into a reasonable model of the subject matter, and the Santa Maria is no exception. With a small number of parts, it will build fairly quickly, and all of the other small sailing ships I have built have been really good fun. Models worthy of note are the Revell 1/90th scale Santa Maria, Hella's Columbus set, which is on general release, and you can buy it on eBay. You can get it off Hella's website, and it's probably available if they're Hella stockists in your shops locally. And the large scale 1/60th scale Santa Maria from Aimee is a really, really tasty looking piece of work. I hope this video has been of some use. If you have any queries, questions, any comments, just pop them in the comments box. And if you need an answer, I'll try and get back to you as quickly as possible. I hope all your modelling projects are running smooth, and thank you for tuning in. If you like the video, want to see more, just scroll through some of my other videos. The inbox reviews are all on a similar format to this. And everything I inbox review, I build and project build, and I do build progress videos and summing up final reveals as well. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you for the next video. Bye bye for now.